and welcome to the Artist Space. So today on our show we have an artist who is a stage and film actor originally from Vancouver, BC. She relocated to Montreal about 2 years ago and she has been working in the art community ever since. She likes cats. Lots of them. I'm Emilie, I'm your host, and the Artist Space is very proud to welcome today, for the very first time on our show, Miss Jen Viens.
Hello.
Hi, Jen.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to ask you all those questions.
Oh, me too.
Okay, so we talked about cats. That's what we did.
A lot.
Thinking.
That's
That's how you'll be known. You'll be known as
the crazy cat lady.
Yeah.
I told you.
That's okay. That's okay.
I've made peace with it. It's cool. I made peace with it.
So, how are you today?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, I'm good. It's a particularly mild day, which is nice.
Yes, it is. It's very nice.
Which is shocking, actually, for where we live. So.
Yes, but it's, we're like getting close to Christmas almost.
I know.
It's good. It's good. Let's keep it away a little bit.
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I mean, being from Vancouver, I'm like,
you're
this is
good, you're
great.
good.
I'm good.
Let's keep it that way a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready to start?
I'm ready.
You're ready.
I was born ready.
Where were you born? Talking about being ready.
So let's just jump right in. I was born in New Westminster, BC.
Okay.
Which is just kind of like a suburb of Greater Vancouver.
Okay.
And we were just driving through and my mom went into labor.
Okay.
So we had to stop at Royal Road.
Well, yeah, no choice.
I was ready.
I was there.
I was ready.
And do you remember, like, because you said that you've moved to Montreal not too long ago, but do you remember, like, when you were in Vancouver, how your life was? I mean, with your family. Do you remember if it was comfortable? Was it, like, were you rich, poor? Were you okay? How was your life over there?
So poor. BC's so expensive.
Is it?
No. Yeah, BC's crazy expensive. Yeah, it was good. I mean, we moved back and forth a little bit. So I lived in Vancouver and then went to the interior of BC and then moved back to Vancouver. So I moved a lot. I've moved a lot in my life. Okay. I think I counted it once and it's something like 31 times. It's nuts.
Moved, like, you changed house and then
like houses, yes.
Yeah, and
cities not as much, but it was good. It
31
was,
times?
Yeah.
So that's that.
I hate moving. I'm not doing it again. Until I absolutely have to. But it was good. We were like, we were back when the middle class actually existed in Canada, before the Harper government. Am I allowed to throw?
Yeah, you're allowed to say
because I'm a Trudeau supporter.
Yeah, that's okay, don't worry about it.
We were actually middle class, I would say. So it wasn't bad. Yeah, it was a good time.
And then Harper came and then...
Ruining my life! That we lived under a bridge.
He ruined a lot of lives, so don't worry about it. We're on the same boat.
Yeah, it's not just me.
Okay, so you moved a lot. And do you think that this is why you hate moving now?
Probably
Yeah,
it probably really has something to do with it, I would say, because every time I move, I throw more things away, or I give them away, because I just don't want to pack them. So I'm like, I'd rather just live with nothing, in the middle of my floor, with no couch, no nothing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a miserable existence. Ugh. That said, if you need to move, I'll help you. I will still help you. My husband's famous for helping people move.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, he's the famous one.
Do you remember what were your interests as a kid? Like, what did you like to do?
As a kid, acting. No word of a lie, what I used to spend all my time doing when I was a kid, because I grew up on Saturday Night Live and like those shows like In Living Color and like the Carol Burnett show and stuff like that. So I really spent all of my time doing impressions. So I would watch these shows and then I would
do it again.
Yeah, and then at the dinner table people would be like, do that voice from that thing, and I'd be like, okay, he looking like a me. That's what I spent all my time doing.
That's good.
Yeah.
But so your passion for acting kind of came from here? It
came young, yeah. I think I actually don't ever remember wanting to be something else, to be honest.
No princess or teacher like
No, never. That's so strange, you know.
Astronaut?
No, never ever did I have an inkling to be anything else.
That's
I was thinking about this, and yeah, it's a strange thing, because a lot of people talk about, oh, I wanted to be this, or I wanted to be this, and then I came to acting later, but ever since I was a wee young lass, I just wanted to be an actor.
And do you remember what were your favorite subjects in schools?
So I loved drama.
But because you moved so many times, did you move schools too?
I did, yeah. So
okay.
usually I wasn't at a school for longer than a year until I got to like the middle school level, junior high. So I did. I moved schools a lot. So obviously I love drama, but I also really liked English.
Okay.
I was kind of an English nerd because I liked reading. When I was a kid, I used to sit in my basement and pretend that I was reading books to kids.
Oh.
And I would do the whole thing like my librarian, you know, the thing that they do where they don't show you the new picture. So you're looking at the picture on the previous page and then they're reading from the next one.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was a weird kid.
That's a little bit acting too, though. You know,
It's storytelling.
Stories,
Yeah, so it's kind of always been a thread. But yeah, it was. Those are my favorites. The artsy subjects always were what I loved.
Yeah, I call to you. Do you remember who was your favorite teacher?
I had a couple.
Okay.
I had, well, you know, because I moved schools so much, I had to change my favorites. But I think that in my later years, there were two really impactful teachers, and one was my English lit teacher.
Okay.
She actually won a Governor General's Award for being so amazing, because she really was amazing. She was an actress too in her spare time. But I was in grade 11, and English lit was a grade 12 program, but I begged my counselor to let me in because she was retiring.
Okay.
And I didn't want to miss the opportunity to be taught by her.
Oh.
And she was honestly amazing.
Do you remember her name?
Mrs. Padwick.
Okay.
She was phenomenal. She used to make songs for us to memorize, like, words and poems and stuff.
Okay.
Like, she was great. And then I had this great English teacher. Her name was Michelle Glibbery.
Okay.
I ended up working for her as a nanny later on. But
nice.
yeah, she was great.
Well, like, you talked about being a nanny. Do you remember what was your first paid job?
McDonald's!
You went to McDonald's?
Yeah, I worked there for 3 years. It was the first job that I got, and I was so excited.
That's a good experience, though.
It was great. I loved my time there. I was the drive-through captain.
Captain, I love that.
Yeah,
you have a title.
It was on board, DT captain, and I had all these pins on my visor, and I thought I was really cool.
You must have been. And what's your first paid job, like, in the acting community? Do you remember that?
Yeah, back in Vancouver, actually. Well, I did, like, background work for a while first.
Yeah.
But I think that my first gig that wasn't background many, many years ago was working on Twilight. I was shot in Vancouver. Yeah, I was the photo double for Kristen Stewart.
Well, that's nice.
So that was cool, and then I also got brought back for the second one, and I was a stunt double. So those were the first, like, I don't want to say legitimate, because being an extra is legitimate too.
Yeah, of course. But let's say it gives you a little bit more.
Yeah,
You know. Did you go to university?
I did. I studied theater at UBC.
Okay. And why this school more than any other schools? Just because it was near your place, or was there something in particular that you liked about that school?
No, I had finished out high school in the interior, you know, the place called Penticton. That's why the weird elementary school name, Koala.
I thought you said koala.
I know, it sounds like that.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's an Aboriginal name. Okay. So we have a lot of, like, in that region of British Columbia, we have a lot of Aboriginal names. Okay. So, like, Skaha Lake and Penticton is even an Aboriginal name. Okay. So I'd finished high school there, and I really wanted to go back to Vancouver. It was actually the only university I applied to. Okay. I was like, if I don't get in, I don't want to. Yeah, that's it. That's fine. I only applied for one program. I, like, knew what I wanted to do, and that was it. And I was like, well, I guess if I don't get it, then I'll keep working at McDonald's.
How do you feel about being an artist now? First of all, do you consider yourself an artist?
I do. Okay. I do. Actually, it's been a pretty cool, almost 2-year ride because since moving to Montreal, I've really sort of shifted my focus and started to take myself more seriously as an artist, I guess. Because it was always sort of like, oh, what do you do? Well, I'm an actor. Okay, what restaurant do you work at? And I did that to myself, not only other people. I was sort of...
no, I get that.
Yeah, you know, so, but since I moved here, I've really shifted my focus, and so now, you know, when I talk about rehearsal, I'm going to work. Okay. When I'm writing, I'm working. When I'm doing whatever, it's a lot more...
It's a discipline for you to see this to for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
And,
that's smart, yeah.
To answer your question, because we went on a tangent there, because I brought it away.
It's
how do I feel about it? I'm actually in a really interesting space. I think because I've shifted my focus to taking myself more seriously, for lack of a better term, that now I'm sort of figuring out how I feel and what kind of an artist I am and how I identify myself, you know, and what I really want to do with my passion. Okay. As opposed to it just sort of being like, I work at this restaurant, now I gotta go on this audition, and I work at this place, and now I gotta go do this, and you know.
Yeah, for sure. But you said because you're taking yourself more seriously. Do you think that by taking yourself more seriously, others around you are doing the same taking you more seriously and not just be like, oh yeah, she's just acting, or she's just... Do people, does it reflect on people, the way that you think about yourself now?
They definitely have an interesting response.
Okay.
Because even another actor that I was on a set with said to me, so what's your job? Like, what else do you do? And I was like, this is it, I'm an actor. And she goes, really? You don't, like, work anywhere else? And it was weird hearing that from another artist. I was like, what? Even for you, it's so unbelievable that somebody can just say, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Or like, this is what I do, and then I kind of do this sometimes. You know, like switching the...
Yeah.
So I think it's... And that's the thing. I think you do need to take yourself more seriously for other people to take you seriously, and you really have to own your craft.
To not be shy about it.
And not feel guilty about being like, I'm an actor.
I'm gonna hide.
Yeah. I'm an actor. Basically,
no, you should be, proud about it.
That's why I have this sweater, actually.
Yeah. For your acting moves. No, it's true. You should be proud about about what you do and about yourself too.
Absolutely. As with anything. I mean, not just with acting, but if you choose to do something that you're passionate about, then own it.
Own it. It's perfect, yeah. Do you think that everyone has an artistic side? Can anybody be creative? Be an artist? Do you think that anybody can tap into that little...
I think that everybody has a creative side.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to look the same for everybody. Like, the example that I always bring up is, like, with Brendan.
Yeah.
He's a neuropsychologist, but it's a very creative science. Because he deals with the mind, but also with consciousness, which is a totally intangible, creative discipline. So he's very, very creative in terms of the stuff that he studies and how he thinks about the mind and about humanity. And then other people are creative with cooking. Like, I have a good friend who went back to school to be a chef, and she just opened a restaurant. Like,
oh, nice.
So I think everybody has some kind of creativity. It just depends on how that manifests. I mean, I think you just need to be open. Not everybody's going to be an actor. Not everybody's going to be a painter.
But everybody can be creative in their own way.
Yeah, for sure.
Going into more about your career, so we talked a little bit, but can you talk about more, when did your passion for your acting start, for your acting career?
I think probably from inception. From in the womb, my passion was there.
From day one? From day one.
I think so. I mean, my earliest memories are like, my Barbies were all actors, and, like, I would walk around the house singing the songs from The Little Mermaid and stuff, so... Yeah, so it's always been like that, but it was a little bit divided when I was young because I was a singer before I became an actor.
Okay.
And so my mom really wanted me to be a singer, and so there was kind of that trajectory for a while, and it was like, just make it as a singer, and then you can be an actor, like, just get your foot in the door. And then at the age of, like, 15, I think I finally said, like, no, I'm lying to myself. I mean, singing's all right, but I don't love it.
Okay.
I want to be an actor, so that's kind of when I flipped the switch and went the other way.
Okay. And then... But when, how can I say this, when was the exact, well, not exact, but I mean the time when you, like you talked about being 15, but really be like, okay, this is it, this is what I want, was it like a little switch going on a little bit later, maybe that's more like, you're starting doing it, I'm like, okay, this is it, I'm not going back.
Yeah, it's weird because I feel like acting has always sort of saved my life, and like, whenever I've gone through a period of difficulty, I'm always like, something will happen, I'll get a job, or I'll read something, or I'll see a film, and I'll be like, oh, okay, and then I'll be okay, And I think that I think when I made the choice that I was really going to do it, and this was going to be the thing, was I was going through a particularly rough patch, and I decided that somebody called me and said, I have this part for you in this play. I'd auditioned for this theater company before, and they rejected me. Okay. And I was very devastated, so I was like, that was it! That was the end! And then, like, a year later, the artistic director called me, and he said, hey, I have this play, I really want you to do this part. And I was like, what? So I went in for the read, and I decided to do the show. And it was this old... They made it into a movie with Sissy Spacek. It's called Crimes of the Heart. Okay. It's like about this woman who, like, shoots her husband in the stomach. It's very strange. But anyway, I did it, and I had to have a southern accent and everything, and I was standing there on opening night, and there's a point where I have to put my head in an oven and try to kill myself. This sounds so dark, but it was actually a comedy, which is the best, weirdest part about it. It was all very surreal. Anyway, I stuck my head in the oven, and then I was in there waiting for my sister to come in and rescue me, and I was like, this is good. This is where I feel good. Like, wow, okay. So that was it was that play. Yeah. It was that play that did it. The right road. And, yeah. Well, you talked about the thing that you did with Kristen Stewart
So how old were you when that happened?
Oh man.
Because that would be your first. Well, no, not really, because you did background work before. Right?
I did background work for several years.
So when did you actually start? Like, at what
years.
age did you actually start working as an actor and then getting paid?
Well, if you count the background work,
Yeah.
then I was like 18, because I had gone,
Okay.
because it was when I went to UBC for theater, I kind of, you know, the same thing. I think I was about 20, maybe, when the Twilight thing was a thing.
Yeah, it was a thing.
Was a thing? I don't know, I'm so bad with timelines.
No, should it be 2007? Was that it? I don't know.
Yeah, somewhere, that sounds right.
Something like-
Something about
yeah.
that, yeah. Yeah.
I don't watch it, of course not.
No, none of us have. We read the books.
We tend to act differently according to the people that we are with. We have different characters and to different situations and different people. Do you agree?
Oh, for sure.
And how do you act differently?
See, that's a thing that I'm not sure that I have perspective on, because I kind of think like acting parallels life, and so when you're in a scene or when you're, you know, in a play or whatever, for me anyhow, I have no self-perspective. I can't see what's going on. I don't know how this is going, which is why every actor needs a director, right? But when other people do a scene, I'm like, oh yeah, totally, you can see it.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with life, is I know that I act differently, not on purpose with people, but it's just the roles that you fall into, like teacher-student, parent-child, whatever. It's just it's a thing. It's a natural thing.
Yeah, it's how it is.
I'm horrendously self-conscious, so most of the time, 98% of the time, I'm actually standing there thinking, please like me. Please like me.
Okay, it doesn't show
Please
at all,
like me.
though.
Yes!
It
Woo!
doesn't show at all.
Because I'm an actor, yeah.
Yeah, you hide it really well.
I dare. I've let out my secret. Now everybody knows. I'm horrendously
You want to be
self-conscious.
liked.
I just want to be loved.
I just want to be loved.
Everybody.
Yes.
Right? We all want to be loved.
Yes, of course. But no, yeah, the self-conscious thing. But no, it doesn't show. You're good.
Good, the mask is working.
You're such an amazing actress. Nobody can see it. Rupert has said that actors always need to look good and fit. Do you agree? Because you work out.
I
Right?
know, I do. I work out.
But like, I was going to
But-
be like crazy just because you're crazy strong.
Oh, because of that.
Yeah, like,
because
she's
of the
really
bench
strong.
press remark. Yeah.
No,
I do,
but
I work out.
I had to lift things with you when you were.
Oh,
last
right,
time.
yeah, that's right. People who got experiences lifted. That's true. Especially for a girl. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess that's a twofold thing. Yes, I do work out a lot, but that's because
like it.
I like it. And I do it mostly because I've fallen in love with running.
Okay.
So I run a lot, but then also with that weight training helps with speed. So it really, for me, because I'm starting to run half marathons and stuff, that's the deal.
Right.
So I guess as I've gotten older, it's gotten less about, it's become about hello, what language am I speaking?
Don't worry, I'm
English, French, German, don't worry.
Don't worry.
It's become less about the aesthetics than it
Yeah,
has
just
about
for
the health
okay.
benefits.
And do you work out like every single day?
Almost.
Almost, okay.
I didn't today though because I had to come here. So
Well, you
I made
do-
the choice to wash the dishes
You'll go.
instead.
That's work, yeah. But you'll go biking, right? Afterwards.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's kind of.
Yeah, I guess so. I will.
So every single day you move every
I
single
do.
day.
Yeah, I try to. But in answer to your question, I think that there is this. I want to call it a problem. I'm going to call it an epidemic in Hollywood, where there is an illusion that people need to look great. I mean, it's been here forever. I mean, if you look at, glamour magazines from the 1940s, even the women were always beautiful. And I mean, the image of what's acceptable and gorgeous changes. Like in Roman times, a full figure was meant
Gorgeous,
fertility,
yeah.
and that was coveted. But so there is this thing, like that's why we hire makeup artists and people to do our hair and stuff. But then you look at things like you look at like Charlize Theron in Monster, and the stuff. Like, she just looked awful because she was true to the person that she was portraying. And so I think that we need to be less concerned. And I think there is a bit of a shift, especially as independent studios and productions are more popular, and the big Hollywood model is not making money anymore. We're moving away from it, and now we're looking at humanity, and people aren't perfect, and we don't have rosy cheeks all the time.
I think we're kind of tired of looking to perfection on the screen.
Yeah, because it's not believable.
That's not true, yeah.
So
That's true, yeah. That's true.
I rail against it.
No, that for sure.
But who am I? No one.
But there's a lot of actresses now that talk about not wearing makeup, not having their hair done for movies more and more.
I think that's great.
I think it's good. It's because it feels like you're kind of hiding away with the makeup in front. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at Angelina Jolie when she did it for health reasons, but she had a mastectomy, a double mastectomy.
Right.
And then she still chose to do this movie, By the Sea, this one that's coming out, where she has to be in a bathtub. Mm-hmm. And it's like she said, okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to pretend. This is what I did. This is part of me. So I thought that was really courageous.
It's true. It's all about courage. Talking about this, who's your biggest inspiration? Could be someone in the acting community or not.
Justin Trudeau.
Are you serious?
I say that jokingly, but actually
It's Trudeau.
It's Trudeau. It's my favorite pun.
Me too. I do it all the time.
I do it all the time. And I'll tell you, people in the West don't understand it. They're like, is that a French thing that doesn't translate? And I'm like, no. Listen to the word. Dough. Somebody else said something funny about water, which I thought was hilarious too. But anyway, like a deep hole or something.
Un Trudeau,
right? Un Trudeau.
I did. Oh,
somebody else pointed it out. I was like, that's funny. So you can use that one too. Yeah.
So your biggest inspiration would be him.
No, I'm kidding. He's not my biggest.
Your biggest.
He's my. That's it. That's all. That's who I aspire to be. Justin Trudeau.
So an actor / prime minister.
Yeah, basically. I could do that, couldn't I? No, my biggest, it's hard, because there have been so many strong women over the years, not just actresses, but so many strong women that have really done amazing things, that have really helped us get to where we are.
Okay.
If you want to talk specifically about acting, I think, like, Angelina Jolie is definitely somebody who's always pushed against the norm and done her own thing. And
seems to not care about what tabloids feel about her.
For sure. She chose to wear a vial of blood around her neck and didn't care what anybody said about it, right?
I know.
She's just brave. I think she's so brave. And Meryl Streep, because she just keeps working. Like, she never got lazy, She just is...
She has like, what, 18 Academy
Award
nominations or something like that?
She works
awards or...
so hard.
No,
she just... Yeah. And she will until the day she dies, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Mark my words.
I'll ask her when I meet her.
Yes,
just confirm it.
Please.
I will. I'll let you know. I'll report back.
How do you tell yourself not to give up?
Oh, that's a hard question. Yeah. That's a daily thing. That's a daily thing. Because I was just talking about this yesterday. We had a great quote from Joseph Campbell about when the heart decides on its destiny, the agony is great, and so too the danger. I'm paraphrasing, I'm not doing it correctly. It's not exactly the same, but he has a quote, and that's one of the things he says. And it's true, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. You have to love it. You have to love it so much.
That you don't mind.
That you'll go through the pain and the agony and the danger and the suffering because you just can't do anything else.
Yeah. But let's say for you that, like you say, you're a full-time actor and you don't have any jobs on the side, right? How do you manage, let's say, either money-wise or, especially now you just got married, a lot of expenses that went on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's, fortunately I have a very supportive husband, so he's great. He's very, not just, in terms of life, but he's very encouraging. And in the moments when I want to give up, like I feel like I'm at the end of my rope, he's always very, very encouraging. I saved a lot of money before I moved here, literally under my mattress. So I'm slowly chipping away at that, and then, I do still work here and there. I'm just you gotta be frugal, You gotta pick and choose when you buy your Starbucks. And you just...
Especially when the coffee costs like...
$6 a pop? It's crazy. But the thing is, like, I don't know, I think... With actors, people who really love it and really do it, there's this thing that you hold on to that, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's hope. Some people call it naivete.
No, I've heard hope.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like that thing where you just, or maybe it's FOMO, maybe it's fear of missing out, but it's like you're always holding on to the, what if? I just have to keep, because maybe, just maybe.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like the one that go to the casino and be like, what if What if I'm the next one?
I'm making it sound like it's an addiction.
It is, though.
It's a healthy one, though.
Yeah, yes.
Healthy. Better than coffee. But it's the same, it's a drive, right? It's I think, rooted from a similar... It's all about drive.
And talking about your husband being so supportive, do you think that it is important to have a supportive community and friends in the same domain? Would you have gone this far if you had no friends in that domain or no one supporting you?
I think it's very important to have a community of friends who are also artists, or people at least that believe in you and support your passion, because otherwise it gets very lonely.
Yeah.
If you're the only guy out there in that boat, it's very lonely. Like, it's very life of Pi. But you do need that because, you know, as much as you can tell yourself that this is cool, I can do this, I can carry on, you need other people to pick you up when you're tired and you just want to cry and break things. You know?
Go in the ball and just,
Yeah, because they can understand, and then, you know, you can collaborate together and you can band together. I mean, it's like that in anything, right? Community is vital. We're social creatures. You need community.
I don't think we would survive that much. We'd all be alone.
Oh, no.
Even doing what we do.
Yeah.
You need people.
You need people to lift you up.
I feel like it's in a song. How did you develop your acting process?
Oh, I have a process.
Do you?
My process changes. I used to think that I knew what worked for me, and then I go to try to do the things that I normally do, and it doesn't work. And then I do something else and it works, and that's why I say I think, you know, now, especially now, I've realized it's really the hardest thing that I've ever done because there is no formula. It's not like doing math or, you know, or having some sort of like, every day I go to work, I do this, and this happens, like the outcome is this. You just never know. You just never know. And because you're human, and this is such a human art form, the fact that I slept for 2 hours last night because my cats were Zooming is going to have an impact on how I come into the scene, or whatever I'm doing, you know? So it's like, I think the big thing is what I've learned, or what I'm learning, I have not learned it because I'm not there yet, is you have to be patient and you have to be easy on yourself. Yeah. You can't beat yourself up because it's never going to be exactly the same as rehearsal and it's never going to work.
Yeah, and you can't compare yourself to anyone else.
Exactly.
It's not the same journey.
But it's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. I forget it like every second, every day. But
talking about being hard, how difficult do you? I think this is a joke that we should put in the quickie.
I know. I'm like, why do you ask me this in the quickie? Yeah.
How difficult do you think it is to get in that industry?
So hard.
I know.
Kids, if there's anything else in the world you want to do, as much as acting, do that. It's hard.
It is.
It's hard. It's hard. It is very difficult, and it's like any other thing. You have to make connections. You have to make inroads when you move to a new city. It's a new deal.
It's a new deal.
You have to put yourself out there
and
pretend that you're not self-conscious and make friends and be like, hey, can I help you?
What would you say that it would be the biggest barrier, like when you want to start a project? For example, for me, I feel like it's money. I feel like we have billion of ideas with billion of people ready to work, but we don't have the money to have the right equipment or space. Would that be the same thing for you? Do you think money would be?
A lot of it is. A lot of it has to do with money. Okay. It's usually one of the big things is a financial thing. The other thing that you get is that some people commit and they're like, yeah, I want to do this, and then they're like, sorry, I got a job. Like I can't because I got this job and I have to, you know. So that, which I understand because, you know, it's hard and everybody usually has another job, right? And you have to pay your rent. You still have to live your life and survive. So I think those are two of the things. Is if we had the money, it'd be no problem because then people wouldn't worry about having to go to work because it's like they could just get paid, which is the dream. I think that's the thing. It's kind of unfortunately rooted out of.
And what's good about now having a new prime minister,
who's putting more money into the arts.
We are hoping that would be really.
Oh,
I really wish to see like something moving towards that.
Me too. I'm very cautiously optimistic, but I'm very excited.
I feel like it's like a dream. I hope
pinch me because wake me up. I know. We'll see. I've got big hopes, but he is also human, so we'll see.
Hopefully.
We'll cross it.
What was your worst acting job so far? Do you have one that was like terrible?
Well, this one time while I was working, I had to spend 13 hours in a lake in March shooting this one scene. I was playing a vampire, and that was miserable. If anybody who knows me knows that I hate being cold more than anything else in the world. It honestly makes me like the Incredible Hulk, or maybe it's Mr. Hyde. I don't know, but I get so angry and so unhappy. And so 13 hours. It was in Vancouver, so it was not as cold as March in Montreal, but it was still cold. And I had a wetsuit, but they had to cut it so you couldn't see it under the costume. So when you cut a wetsuit and it's not airtight anymore, it doesn't really serve a purpose. And that was, I thought that day I was like, I'm out, I quit. I can't do it.
This is acting, I'm not doing it.
No. That was a pretty bad one.
Okay. And which character was the hardest for you to play? Because you've played a lot.
I played some. I played some. I don't know. It's sort of, I feel like every time I do something, you know, like I thought this one was hard, but this one's hard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The hardest, I think, was, I did Blackbird a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And that was hard. That was a strange thing, because for those of you who don't know what the play is about, it's about a man and a girl. When she was 12 and he was in his 40s, they had a relationship.
Okay.
And so then they're found out, and then he goes into hiding, changes his name, like whatever, witness protection or what have you. She tracks him down later and confronts him in his workplace. And it's a two-hander, so it's just these two actors on stage for like 88 pages, just talking, you know? And so I played, her name was Una, and I played her. And that was a ride. That was a crazy ride, because it was a bunch of things. It was like, you know, it's just you and this other person for 88 pages, you know? I had a 7-page monologue in the middle of the play. The subject matter is insane, because I don't know anything about that. Yeah, like, I don't know anything about a 12-year-old girl having this relationship with this much older man. So it was so far removed from my realm of life. And then to add to the whole thing, we did it in a site-specific space. So the front row was this far away from me. And there were points in time where we like kicked garbage cans and threw things at each other. It was very intense. So I think that is probably one of the hardest, but also most rewarding.
Yes, once you have it,
Yeah. But it was a crazy ride. Every night you just never really knew where that garbage can was going to land.
On someone's head.
Yeah, maybe. Like, they're signing waivers as they come in.
We're not responsible.
Don't sue the production, please.
And how do you feel when you think that you have the character?
It actually feels like having a seizure. I know that sounds strange.
But that's, I like it.
Because it's like somebody else cut, and then I'm like,
what happened?
You know? Like, it's, and I don't really remember, like, I kind of remember the beginning, like, what, you know, the start of it, and then there's a black hole. Or, like having a seizure, or like having amnesia or something, you know?
And then
like,
it's cut, and it's you again.
Yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, I love that thing that you did when you're, you know, when you crossed over there, and I'm like, great.
Okay.
I'll try.
If you say so.
Yeah.
And that's funny. Some other actors have different ways to express when you get the character, right? For me, it's when everything around gets blurry.
Oh yeah.
But like blurry to a point that I do not see a single thing.
So stroke.
That could be it.
Like, everything's a medical term.
I just see like the other person that I'm dealing with, but nothing. Like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing around. It's scary. It's
crazy.
Cool. It's cool though.
It's wild.
I feel it's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like nothing else that I've ever.
Nothing else. And you're not on drugs.
I know, right?
It's like
it's cheap. It's a good time. Totally safe.
Totally safe. Do you like to do acting classes?
I do. I think it's really important to continue to train, especially because none of us are Angelina Jolie, so we're not yet. So we're not working all the time.
I'm pretty sure she still does some stuff on the side, some acting classes.
Oh, she must. I'm sure. I think all smart actors should do something. But you have to. You have to stay loose. You have to stay in it. You know, you always have to be. It's like if you were a professional athlete, or you know, even like doctors have to go and take workshops and recertify and whatever. Yeah. So I think it's very important. It's no different being an actor. It's like, okay, you know, like for instance, now I'm doing voice classes because I'm like, there's some stuff I need to work on, and I've never done it, so let's do it, you know, or movement classes because of this. And so I think it's really, I love it. If I had all the money in the world, I'd do it all the time, but it gets expensive.
It gets really expensive. And which classes have you tried so far? I mean, did you used to do some in Vancouver as well?
Yeah.
Aside from your drama classes at school.
Yeah, I used to study at a studio called the Actors Foundry, which is pretty cool because it's kind of similar. It reminds me a bit of Strayon, which is why I was attracted to Strayon when I got to Toronto, because I was in the studio there.
Okay.
That whole, you know, the connection and the relationship and stuff like that. So I did that, and then, you know, people would come to town and do like specialized workshops. So I'd take those, and I took a voice intensive in Toronto and stuff. some Le Bon. Like, I've kind of tried everything that sort of piques my interest. If I can afford it and there's time in my schedule, then I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, of course.
It might work for me, might not.
Do you believe in actors falling in love with their co-stars, or is it just the characters getting carried away?
Well, this is a touchy subject. These are two separate things. So, I think it's possible for two human beings that spend so much time together on a set to fall for each other. I think that's because it's just the nature of the thing. Like, anybody who's at the work.
You spend a lot of time.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time with that person, and you can develop real, legitimate relationships. Or illegitimate, because maybe you're on a rebound and it's close quarters and whatever. But I think that sometimes the line is a little blurred.
Okay.
And it's the characters and the story that have developed this relationship, and some people have a hard time detaching from it at the end of the day. Like shaking it off and being like, okay, alright, I'm back to Jen, I'm going home now and gonna have dinner. So I think it's hard. It's like a very gray area.
And do you think how would I say this? Do you think it can happen to anyone to feel this way? Let's say, for example, you're married now. If it ever happens that way, do you think you'll be able to make it really clear? It's like, oh.
Brendan, it will never happen.
Never happen. No, but
I
just
think
to be conscious of what's going on and be like, no, this is not me, it's the character.
Yeah, I think you really have to, and this is why it's really important to continue to learn and grow and to develop your self-awareness, because you really have to go into it being like, okay, this is really the line.
Yeah.
You really need to be self-aware, and you have to go in with in a conscious way so that you can separate yourself from it. So that you can, at the end of the day, you can turn it off and be like, alright, that was cool.
That was the character.
We were so in love. Like, for instance, Makyo and I did that scene from Wolf of Wall Street.
Wonderful scene.
He's one of my dearest friends, and we did this really intense scene, and there was there was love making or whatever. And that was crazy because it was like, that was intense. Yeah. But at the end of it, we walked away. It was like, cool, see you tomorrow, and he's good friends with my husband too, so
that would have been awkward.
Yeah, no, it actually wasn't. I totally expected it to be, but Brendan was like, "Hey, what's you? How are you?" I was like, I knew I married the right man.
But he was there. Was he there for the rehearsal that you had to do?
A couple of the beginning ones, like the readings that we did, but then not the just because I was like, all right, let's separate the work and for your sake. He's like, thank you.
That's nice. That's very respectful.
Yeah, I don't want to drive him crazy. I don't need to shove it in his face. He's very understanding, but I try to be delicate about it. Yeah, for sure.
Do you think that artists are doomed to struggle their way through life, or are they more messed up than other people, and do they need therapy? Would you call artists crazy or something?
I think everybody needs therapy. I think it's very good. I think it's just good. So if you feel like you need therapy, you should go. You should. It's great. It's very cathartic. No, I don't subscribe to the whole thing about how artists are inherently damaged and messed up, and they can never lead a normal life, and they're always going to have drama around them, and they're always going to be suffering, which is the other thing, because people expect you're an artist, you're going to be broke, and you're always going to be suffering.
Doomed and blah, blah.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to that at all, because, and it's unfortunate that that's a picture that most people have, because I know a lot of people who, they're actors, and this is what they do for a living, but they have very normal suburban lives. Like my old acting coach, for instance, he lives on Bowen Island with his beautiful actress wife and their son, and they homeschool him. So I think it's possible, and I think it's because actors and artists, I think, because they're more in touch with their creative side, naturally feel more. Okay. And I think that other people sometimes have a hard time dealing with it, which is completely understandable, because we, by nature, have to study humans, and we have to experience things, we have to be empathetic. So, to a certain extent, sometimes it's like, what do I do with this, But for instance, me, I will never date an actor. I would never. Like, I did it once, and then after that, I was like, no, I want to have a normal relationship with someone who's not an actor, because I like to go home at the end of the day and have a normal, not normal, because I'm not saying actors are not normal,
but it's just different than...
Yeah, just have like a life, like a regular guy. Like Brendan comes home from, like a regular guy. Comes home from work, and we'll have dinner, and we'll watch TV, and then that'll be it,
That'll be it.
So no, I don't think that, it's not mutually exclusive.
What would your life look like without acting in your life? Let's say it was not an option, or it didn't exist.
Didn't exist? Wow. Okay, I'll go with that, because not an option is sort of a... So if it didn't exist...
It's impossible.
Impossible. I don't think that my life would look much different, to be honest with you. I think probably the biggest difference is my work schedule. I think, you know, what I do from like 9 to 5, or, you know, for the bulk of my hours during the day would be kind of different. Like, I've never really thought about what else I wanted to do, which is, you know, if I wasn't an actor, what else would I be? I've never really thought about it. Like, I tried to be a nurse, I tried to be a lawyer, but I didn't really want to do those things legitimately. So, I don't know, maybe I would be a teacher, which is weird, because I never thought I would say that, but, or like maybe I'd own a restaurant, I don't know.
Oh, that's nice.
Or maybe I'd go back to wine, or...
to drinking wine?
Maybe I'd go back to drinking. No, to being a sommelier, but I think that's basically
that's interesting though.
Yeah, I was studying that when I was in Toronto. But the rest of my life, I don't think would look very different. I think I'd still go to theater and watch a lot of movies and do all that artsy stuff that I do.
Because you kind of need it.
Yeah, whether I did
Imagining
it
a
or
life
not,
without movies or plays or
books or something. It would just be, it'd be 1984. It would be 1984. It would just be like, yeah, it would be nothing. Rats in a cage.
So, like you said, you're an actor full time. What's your schedule like? It's for like in a week. What happens in your life in a week?
It's a bit
because it's not like you said. It's not 9 to 5. It's all over the place.
I don't have office hours. So I get up, I brush my teeth, and because it's the first thing I do in the morning.
And the last thing that you do.
Yeah, it's the last thing I do when I go to bed. Is it the morning? Is it night? I don't know. So it kind of depends. Usually a day will consist of like I'll have a class or something, like I'll go to a voice class or something like that, or a movement class or acting class, or I'll have rehearsal, and then it'll be some battle jar stuff, some clerical stuff. It'll be some stuff with Titan flicks. It's usually like it's a mashup of stuff. I'm answering emails, I'm writing, I'm rehearsing, I'm going to voice. It's kind of all over the place. And then in between, I like to hang out with my cats.
That was going to say.
And do some dishes.
Do you have some spare time for yourself?
To be honest with you, not a lot.
Okay.
I think as an artist is another thing. You really have to make time for it, because otherwise your whole day will just be filled up and it'll be midnight and you'll be like, well, that was great. I didn't do anything for myself today. But
at the same time, I don't know if you're like me or not, but it feels like you have so much to do.
All the time.
And then when you take about, like, this morning, this is what I did, like 3 hours on checking Netflix and whatnot, and I was like, I feel guilty. I should be working. I should be doing something, but no, I don't want to move.
Every day of my life.
It's like, there's too many things to do.
It's a curse as an artist, because you have projects that have like...
And then you get other ideas, and then like bang, 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 bang.
It's a constant flow, and it's like...
Always something to do.
I know, I get it. Eternal guilt every day. I'm like, oh God, can we do this? Oh, get up. Stop petting the cats.
Talking about this, do you ever feel that your passion should just be a hobby and not a full-time job?
Once was a hobby. Once, a long time ago. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ever going to... I don't know. I think once I made that switch and I decided that the thing that I like to do for fun was also going to be my job, my career, whatever, I have a hard time looking at it another way now.
Okay.
So maybe if you'd asked me like 15 years ago, I'd have been like, maybe it should just be a hobby. Maybe I should just do improv classes on the weekend. But now I can't. Yeah. I'm really... It's part of my identity, I think. I have a hard time disconnecting it. Good or bad, that's the way it is. I don't know.
That's good though. Do you remember the first movie that you've ever watched in a movie theater?
Yes, absolutely. Liar, Liar.
Really?
Yep. I fell in love with Jim Carrey at that point in my life, and I was like, that man is a genius. And then I started doing all the impressions from the show. The pen and the blue. Like, Jim Carrey's
I love him. To do impressions, he's one of the best.
Oh, he's the best.
Tries to do the same thing as he does.
He's the best.
Would you consider yourself... no, sorry. Not that. Who would you consider a great actor? I was going to say, would you consider yourself a great actor?
Oh, why? Yes, indeed.
No,
that's a tough
Who would
question.
you consider a great actor?
I mean, there's a lot of really, really great actors out there that do some pretty amazing stuff. I mean, we've talked about Angelina Jolie. I think she's remarkable. She does everything. You know, she writes, directs, acts. Benedict Cumberbatch, I just saw him in Hamlet recently, and I just thought, wow, that's wow.
Yeah.
You know?
I still have to see the
Imitation Game. I haven't seen it yet either.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
I know. I just saw. Put it on my list.
Yeah.
It's on my list. There are just some phenomenal people out there doing some incredible work. But it's funny because there aren't a lot of, and I'm sorry, I know I'm going to say this and they're going to get mad at me, but most of the actors I really admire are older.
Okay.
I find that there are not a lot of people that, I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, I think maybe is an exception. There's some stuff that she's done where I'm like, wow, like Winter's Bone or whatever she did, Winter's Tale.
I didn't see that one.
She was younger and she was great in that. It was basically a movie all about her.
Okay.
And she's like 14, 15 years old and she's carrying the whole thing.
I haven't
It's
seen
on
that.
Netflix. It's really good. But it's the guys that have been around and they're still around. Like Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and they just do great stuff.
Yeah.
And they could rest on their laurels and just go, you know, I'm Patrick Stewart. I could just be Patrick Stewart. But they still continually push themselves, which I think is amazing.
It's to never stop.
Mm-hmm.
And do better. Who would you like to work with in terms of directors?
Wow, there are a few. There are a few. Lars von Trier, I think, would be a trip.
Okay.
He's the reason that Bjork will never act again. Because when they did Dancer in the Dark, he destroyed her, which the weird actor in me was like, oh, that would be amazing. I want to be destroyed by a director. Oh, I used it as a verb.
Well, you know what they say. Put it out there and it'll come back.
I know, right? So, Lars von Trier, if you're listening. He's one. I think there's a German director, Werner Herzog, who did some crazy stuff.
Okay.
He's pretty amazing. Interesting stuff, like dragging boats over mountains and things. Wes Anderson, P.T. Anderson, the Coen brothers, I think would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like, they just do crazy stuff. So, I mean, the list could go on forever, but those are, I think, big ones that stand out.
Just
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you create your own work?
I try as much as I can. I try. Yeah. I think it's very important.
Right now you're doing Battle Jar. Are you writing in this or?
Yeah, we
Or you
kind of
just
all wear sort of collaborative hats. So
Okay.
we all are kind of writing, as we talked about before, we all kind of edit together, but then Alex will actually, you know, Alex or Jean or even Kenny, they'll do, I just can't do the, and that sounds terrible, I know, but I can't do the program thing.
Yeah.
I wish I wanted to, but I don't
wish
have the
I could.
passion for using, I don't. But it is a collaborative effort, so we kind of all do everything.
So what else do you create as your own work?
So, I'm also, I like to help other people out too.
Okay.
Because, as we talked about, it's a community and we need to
help
help
each
each other, right? You know, so I'm helping Stefan with, we're co-producing
Yes,
for his first short film. It's coming out pretty soon, which is exciting. Battle Jar's taken up a lot of time. And then there's, you know, I have some theater projects that I'm thinking about. And I've got that, the Passage as well. We've just applied for the Fringe, so we
Right.
just workshopped that in BC for 4 weeks. Because if you sit around and wait for somebody to give you the job,
You're gonna wait a long
you'll be
time.
waiting forever.
You gotta
So
be like, yeah.
you have to
Lines
do,
up.
yeah. If nobody else will cast you, you gotta do something where you can cast yourself.
You have to, yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah.
Small. Because you could wait a very long time.
Oh man, eternity, waiting for the phone to ring.
If you could get any role, which role would you love to play?
An old man.
Interesting.
An old man.
Okay.
I like playing old men. I know it's weird.
It's okay. It's something I want to do.
But other than that, like a character, you know, like a historical figure or something like that, or like a person. I don't know. It's hard.
A little bit like who's the actress to she's British. She had to dress as a man to play. She was playing some maybe not historical, but
Do you mean the Bob Dylan movie?
no.
Because that was Kate Blanchett. She played Bob Dylan.
Oh, that was good. No, the other. Anyway, I'll look it up.
Okay.
She made me think of Helen Miller, but it's not her.
Helen Mirren?
Mirren, yeah, but that's not her.
I don't
The
know
other
that.
one. The other one who plays the man.
Oh, the other one that plays the man. Right, the other British lady that plays the man.
There's just two of them.
I don't know.
Never mind, I'll find her.
Okay,
Is
I
that,
don't know.
anyway, I'll show it. But yeah, I love when they. It's kind of thinking outside the box. You have to go get a woman to play a man's role.
Mhm. Yeah, I love it when people do stuff like that. I did actually play an old man in a musical once, and it was my favorite. It was my favorite. He was like 90 and he couldn't walk straight, and I had like a wig. It was great. He talked like this. It was much better on stage.
No, of course, yeah.
When I'm not just like.
What do you think about nudity and sex scenes in movies?
I think think that sometimes it's integral to the story.
Okay.
Like so let's take for instance Titanic.
Okay.
That movie needed that. You needed that part because he needed to draw the picture. That moment needed to be there. The story wouldn't have been the same without it. But I think that the problem is that there's a lot of unnecessary and gratuitous stuff happening out there that doesn't, I mean, if you took it away, the story would still be there.
Okay.
So if it's really, like, it needs to be there to move the plot along or it's integral to the story, then by all means, I think, yeah, for sure. Like Kate Winslet in The Reader. There's that 2 Kate Winslet examples.
Hey. She knows how to choose her movie.
She does. She's an example of a woman that really knows how to choose her stuff.
And how about you? Would you do nudity and sex scenes?
If it was really integral to the story, I think, like I have a clause in my contract right now that says I won't, so I won't do it. My agent knows that. Unless it's like really important and it's really, really, I mean, ACTRA has stuff in place for that anyway, but, you know, you're generally protected, but it's like you don't want to be known as, you know, especially when you're starting out or you're not super well known. You know, let's say later on you get it, you hit it, you know, you work in or whatever, or you get the chance to be in front of a big producer and they just like, oh yeah, you're the girl who showed her you were topless in that thing, in that episode of whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so for me,
and then you're being remembered for that.
Forever, you're like, that girl with the thing. Yeah. So no, I think someday if it's a role that and it really needs to be there, then yeah. But I can't. It's gotta. I'll assess it as it comes.
What should an actor's salary be?
I think they should get a fair wage. I really think that. I think it should be. I think at the very least it should be like minimum wage for everything. At the very least. Because there are a lot of people out there that just don't get paid at all. Like people that are doing work for free.
That's true.
Which I don't, it's not about the money, but it's about the fact that we have a different attitude about actors and it's not a real job, so they don't deserve to be compensated. On a film set, they're always the last person to get paid.
That's true.
The makeup will get paid, you know, even the grips will get paid, they'll rent the equipment, they'll pay the editor, but the actors, no. Because you're doing what you love. Which, yeah, okay, for sure, but so is the editor. You know, so is the director. So I think that it should be at least comparable. At least. I mean,
maybe we can talk to Justin about this.
Yeah, we should give him a call.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Trudeau.
What would you help us get?
We're just trying to get a fair wage for actors. Thank you.
I think it's a good idea, though.
At least, at the very least, you know.
It's true. It's true. Let's say that we want to work, and then we start doing some free stuff, but working for free means that we're not working somewhere else making money.
Exactly.
So,
and
even if it's the thing that we love, at one point, like you said before, you need to be the brand.
Yeah, you need to eat.
Food. You need to eat.
You know?
You need to eat. Are artists' jobs more important than other people's jobs?
Absolutely. No, they're not. I'm kidding. I think they're important. And so kind of like with the minimum wage thing that we were just talking about, they should at least be considered as important as everybody else's profession. Okay. You know? But I sometimes get the feeling that it's like it's sort of a downgraded position in life, you know? Where it's, oh, okay, you're an actor, well, you're basically like the drive-through guy. And I think that because if you look at history and you look at how much people need art, we need it. Yeah. Otherwise our souls would die. You know, what's the thing that survived during the Great Depression? Cinema. That's the one thing that survived. So there's a commonality in that, and that's what people love. Like, look how popular Netflix is. People would die without, their souls would die without some sort of creative source, you know, to entertain us. So I think that, but for some reason there's a disconnect between the end and the pieces that go into it along the way. So I don't think we're more important, but I think that people don't see us as important enough. Okay. You know?
But I like how, especially in English, like you have the art and heart.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I feel like that sums it up. It's like
I never thought about it like that, but yeah, for sure.
I like it. I don't know, I saw it somewhere and I thought it was really smart to point out that in your heart there's art. I don't know, something like that. That's nice. What do you think about, what's your opinion on celebrities? Celebrities!
Well, celebrities. I think, and this sort of ties into the question previous, I guess, about like, do I think people their jobs are more important than ours? I think that there's a difference between a celebrity and an actor.
Okay.
Like Paris Hilton's a celebrity, but she's just famous because she's famous, like famous for being
Yeah.
famous, you know? I don't think that you need to be a celebrity in order to be a successful actor.
Okay.
And I also don't think that you need to be an actor to be a celebrity. And I think that sometimes it takes away from the work,
Okay.
because people are really concerned about your private life and
Yeah.
like who you're dating, you're married to this person, where were you, you know, what shoes
Instead
you're
of
wearing.
what you're doing.
Instead of your art and what you're creating. Some people do a really good job of staying out of the limelight, and I respect them for that. Which,
I think it's
like
smart.
Christopher Walken lives in a cabin in the middle of the woods with his wife. He doesn't leave unless he has a job, unless he has to go shoot something, you know? Bill Murray doesn't have an agent, he has a 1-800 number. You call him, you tell him your script idea, if he likes it, he'll call you back. He doesn't sign contracts, and he's just a stand-up guy.
Oh.
So I think it's damaging in some ways, and
Yes.
again, it leads into that whole thing about, like, do we always need to look perfect?
And I feel it kind of destroyed a bit the movie industry and the cinema industry because of that.
Oh,
Because
for
we
sure.
don't see singers for what they do, we see them for what they're doing in their videos,
Yeah.
which is not always the best. And actors, the same thing. You see them as, just like you said, someone married to someone else, someone cheating to someone else, and like, you don't
Yeah.
even care what they're doing.
That's the thing, and it should be about their body of work. It shouldn't be about, you know, how many times they've been married or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I often bring up
Or who you're going out with.
Who are you dating? I often bring up the Bill Clinton argument. Like, okay, maybe he was not faithful to his wife, but he was still a good president. And just because he has problems in his marriage doesn't mean that he can't run a country. And that's the thing, is it's like people can't separate. They're like, you know, I don't know.
That's
It's
right.
I think it's detrimental more than anything.
What do you think about how this industry portrays women? And what's the difference between the roles that are offered to women and offered to men?
I think people have probably been reading a lot about the Rachel McAdams phenomenon and like the Judy Greer thing. I think unfortunately they just don't write roles for women that they do for men.
Okay.
It's very disproportionate. Even if you look at the breakdowns on Casting Workbook and the stuff that's out there for women, like I can't even tell you how many different sides I've received for like role of hooker or like girl at party. You know what I mean? And it's like, well,
I saw that.
isn't there anything else? And I think that's the thing, because it is still largely a male-dominated industry. Like, even Brad Pitt said this movie that they did, that Angelina Jolie, and I'm on this now, I love that, I'm really on it, but that was the first time he'd been directed by a woman. In his entire career. In his whole career. And there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. There's a disparity, and I think it just goes along with the whole shift in equality for women and stuff like that. It's just another place where it's prevalent that we don't have equality, you know. And I get it. There's a lot of male screenwriters, and it's hard to write. I think you need a female to write women a lot of times, and I just don't think it's there. I think we're maybe hopefully seeing a shift.
Yeah, I think it's
as we move away from the Hollywood model.
Yes.
But
everything goes together, right?
Yeah.
Once we're going to move away from this, then maybe it's going to start unraveling. And
yeah. I mean, fingers crossed, and I think, like, you know, by the time I'm Betty White's age, then I'll be doing cool stuff that's really, like, worth it. But I don't want to wait that long,
No,
nor should anybody else.
No.
I mean, there are great roles written for men, which is awesome. It's not like I want less stuff to happen for men, I just want more stuff for women. They need to be written better, they need to be portrayed better, and not as a stereotype, like beautiful but broken, as Brie Larson said recently. She's like, please, screenwriters, don't describe your women characters as beautiful but broken.
But it reminds me also, like, when you are on the red carpet for the Oscars, when last year they decided, do not ask us questions about what we're wearing, who we're wearing, just ask us questions about what we do, and the roles that we just did, or, you know, the characters and whatnot. And I think it's good, but at the same time, what they decided to do is, instead of asking the girls, they started asking the guys, who are you wearing? No, that's not the point. So I'm like, but at least there's a little movement towards, like, let's talk about what we do instead of who we're wearing.
Yeah.
What do you really want to achieve in your acting career?
Oh, that's a hard question.
I don't know.
Who wrote these? What do I want to achieve in my acting career? You know what? Honestly, I used to think I wanted to be a celebrity.
Everybody did.
Everybody did, and then I don't know.
Let's not lie. Everybody did.
Everybody at one point, they were all like, "I want to be famous." I'd still like money, but that's different. I honestly have moved away from that now. I can't remember when it switched, but something went off in my brain and I was like, no, that's not what it's about. And now for me, I really just want to tell
Story.
I want to tell compelling stories. I want to build full characters and portray, you know, people in situations that actually have an impact. Like, I want people to walk away from whatever I've done and actually be moved by what they experienced. Because that's, like what I said, you know, the cinema was what survived during the Great Depression. We need it. We need to relate to someone.
Yeah.
You know, we need to identify and to feel like we're not alone, and we need a release, and you need it. You totally need it. So that's the thing. I want people to walk away and feeling an impact from whatever it is that I did. And hopefully one day to be in a position where I can help other people, you know, whether it's I make enough money that I can donate a lot of it to charity, or I can be involved in a project that helps a charity, or, you know, or whatever, something like that. Something.
Be helpful. What's the biggest mistake that you've made as an actor? Have you made it yet?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, you know what? I don't know that I've made my biggest mistake yet. Biggest mistake that I've made as an actor? This is a hard question. I'm sure I've made a lot of mistakes because I'm a human being and I do it a lot. I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay.
Just because it's out there on the internet, and if I do become famous, people will find it and they'll be like, "Oh, it'll be like the Sony hacks." So back in the early days in Vancouver, like 40 years ago, I was starting out and I responded to this casting call for like these instructional medical tapes that they were making, and it was for, you know where this is going, because it's for breast cancer. Right? Yeah, guys, here we go. And they were like, "Okay, this is what we need from you," or whatever. But I did my due diligence and I was like, okay, what's the company name? Do you have a website? Blah, blah, blah. I did all this research and stuff. They had a website and everything, and I'd been corresponding, and they looked very professional. So finally I was like, okay, this looks legitimate.
Okay.
Like, this was like a week-long correspondence thing. So I took these photographs. They needed like a profile. They needed whatever. And then they were like, we need one like photo, like a topless photo, just so we can, you know. So it doesn't have my face in it. I think it's just whatever. It's like, you know, you can't see my face, but anyhow. So I sent these away, and I was like really nervous about it anyhow. And then I didn't hear anything for like a week. And I can't believe I'm telling this story. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I was crushed.
And then?
So then I finally emailed back, and I was like, hey, just emailing to confirm that you received those photos or whatever. And then I got back a one-line response. Yeah, we got them. And I was like, oh my, I have been duped. I have been duped. And I was shattered because I felt so bad because I'd done all of this research and I'd like really followed up and looked at the website and like Googled them. And then I was like, no, the biggest nightmare that could ever happen to an actress has happened. Ah! I was devastated for like
And you don't know
6
what happened to
months.
those pictures.
No, I even tried like searching the internet like constantly after that. But what do you type in? You know, because they probably wouldn't have published it with my name, or maybe they didn't even go online and they're just for personal use, whatever. But I just remember going, ugh.
Oh no. But at least your face is not on it.
Yeah.
At least there's this.
So someday, guys,
We'll
you heard
see.
it here first.
Yes.
So it's
And
fine.
we'll-
I'll just be like, whatever, I told you all that already anyway. It's terrible. I was young. I
It
was
is.
like 18 years old. It was stupid.
Um,
So let that be a lesson to you. I did it. You don't have to.
don't take
Don't ever. Don't. It's
But don't put your face in it. At least, I mean.
They do legitimately hire actors for medical videos.
Yes.
They do. Just, I'm pretty sure that they don't do it like that. Now I know.
Not
I'm
anymore.
older and wiser.
You won't do it again.
I won't. That's a pretty bad one. It's a pretty bad mistake.
What's the last movie that you watched and thought, I have to stop crying like a baby now?
Oh my word. I don't know. I feel like I cry at the drop of a hat these days. What did I watch where I just was like, I think it was something silly too. Actually, I watched an episode of The Real Housewives of Orange County.
Okay.
And in one of the episodes, one of the housewives is baptized, and I cried.
Are you
And
serious?
I went, what is wrong with me? I was like, what is wrong with me? This is what I mean. I cry all the time now.
When you cry.
Isn't it terrible? It's terrible. It's really terrible.
Okay, but let's say like a movie that actually touched you.
Like a legitimate movie. I don't know. I watched so many things that I can't
You don't
even
remember?
recall. The last movie I saw was the Steve Jobs movie, but that didn't make me cry.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe last weekend? It's called Last Weekend. It's about a family.
Okay.
It's like a relationship
Okay.
drama about this family that's selling their
That was touching.
cottage. Yeah, might have been that.
Name 3 words that describes you well.
Foot in mouth. Other than
That's
that,
3, thank you. Okay, that's good.
that's it? Okay, cool. Done. Finished. Foot in mouth. Really? I have
Yeah.
energetic.
Yes. Agreed.
Loud.
Agreed.
And energetic, loud, and what's a synonym for energetic? Just kidding.
Love stats.
Loyal.
Loyal, that's good, yeah. But you're right.
Energetic and loud, for sure. For sure.
Why those 3 words?
Why those 3 words? Because
I do feel like you
one of
have
the-
like so much energy.
this is
It's like a never-ending
you just
thing.
answered. There you go. That's why. Because
It's like a
everybody I
never-ending
meet,
supply.
they're like, you have so much energy.
You're like
I
the
don't
little
know.
rabbit,
The Energizer bunny with the yeah, that's me. Because that's what they're like. You have so much energy. Where does it come from? That's what everybody sounds like apparently.
You leave a ladder, you talk like that.
What? Oh my god. Because yeah, people say that, and it's that I've always been like on the go. And I've always been loud. That's always another thing that people say about me. They're like, "You're so loud, inside boy." Inside boy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's good when you're doing a play.
It's true. Projection is. I blame it on my really well trained diaphragm. And then loyal because I like to think that I am loyal. Pretty loyal. I'm loyal.
You won't cheat.
No, never in a million years. Never, Brendan. But not just in that respect, but just in terms of like the rest of my relationships and stuff. You know, like if you're my friend, you're my friend. Like I'll drive 5 hours to pick you up, kind of thing. You know, in the middle of the night. I mean, heck.
Anyone else needs a ride?
Yeah, just give me a call.
Just call Dan.
Just give me a call. Doesn't matter what time it is.
Where do you see yourself in 20 years?
France. In the south, where it's hot.
It's hot, yeah, for sure. Doing
I
what?
mean, hopefully,
At Cannes?
at Cannes. There you go. Yes, at Cannes. Actually, I'd like to be in New York. I'd love to be on Broadway. If I'm dreaming big, 20 years, Broadway.
Would you
That's
do
always
musicals
been
on Broadway?
I don't know. I feel like I should want to do musicals because I was a singer and am an actor. But there's just something about musicals that it's kind of one of those, it's like editing. I feel like I should want to do it, but I don't.
You don't.
I feel like I should want to do musicals, but I don't. I don't think I do. Now, having said that, if anybody wants to offer me a role, and I'm
You'll be
lady.
down. You know, to go on Broadway, it's fine.
Yeah. No, but I think I'd love to do, I'd love to do Shakespeare on Broadway. I'd love to do, I don't know, something. Speed the Plow. I don't know. Just, I'd love to, yeah, Broadway would be the dream.
The dream?
The dream.
Well, talking about what is your biggest dream, then I'm guessing that's that.
Broadway!
But any other dreams aside from that?
Other than Broadway? Any other dreams? I really want to live a happy life. I know that sounds like really cliche. I will fully admit that. But, I've had a lot of ups and downs. And contrary to popular belief, though I am an actor, I do not like drama. And I come from a European family, and so we're all very about family and about community and stuff. And I would like to live a good life. I would like people to stand at my funeral and be like, "Hey, she was all right. She was a bit of all right," you know.
She lived a happy life.
And not lie during your eulogy. Not like, "Yeah, she was a bit of all right," but actually,
She was energetic.
Yeah, like people. Yeah, she was energetic.
She was loud. That's good. And what can I wish you for the rest of your journey? To go on Broadway. Aside from that.
I wish you Broadway. I think you know what? Just wish me some good courage not to give up because it's hard out there. It's hard out there.
Then this is what I wish for you. I wish Broadway, but I also wished courage and just keep on being who you are. Amazing person. This is it. This was your interview. We are done.
This is it. It's over. It's like it just started.
I know, but no, it's a few minutes.
What? It's been a few minutes? All right.
A few minutes. But thank you so much again for coming, and I really love having people here because the answers that you give me to some of the questions, having a happy life, just helping others, it comes all the time. And I'm like, we're such good people. We have good people here. We have good talent and we have good people in Montreal. So I think it's really fun. I love to hear your answers. So.
Great. Well, thank you for having me. And at your funeral, I will stand up and say, she was a bit of a run.
Well, I was going to say I'll do the same,
in
but
like
it's bad.
70 years.
Yes. Yeah.
In 70 years.
80. Let's see.
Yeah, 90. 100?
Yeah,
We're going to live forever.
100. Oh, I just did. Live for 100 years. So anyway, well, thank you so much again for coming.
Thank
I
you
hope
so
liked
much for
it.
having me. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
You don't seem stressed. I don't know if you were, but you really don't seem stressed. You feel
Good.
You feel like you've been doing this your whole life.
The mask is working.
It's still there. Well, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we did. And please just keep on liking, sharing, commenting our posts on Facebook and our videos on Makyo TV on YouTube. And hopefully you will get more great talents from Montreal here at this bar. Today we're drinking coffee though, because our little friend Jan here has issues with gluten.
So I can't drink beer.
So this is why. But it's okay. We're allowed to drink coffee.
Coffee is just as good.
It's just as good. It's alright.
And we do what we want, so.
We do what we want, it's true. It's true though. Oh my god.
It's true though! Ah, it's infiltrating.
Everywhere. I'm gonna call him up. You know what? You should check our interview with Jan.
You should. It's good. It's Trudeau.
Justin, call us. So anyway, thank you all guys for watching. Just stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you.